Discussed until general posting profile and prepayment posting profile.
Okay. So what is posting profile? Anyone with a good answer? What is posting profile?
It acts as a bridge between the general ledger and the submodule ledger accounts.
General ledger and sub ledger.
Vendor
Okay.
accounts.
Okay, not only in vendor accounts, we have it in accounts receivable as well as in fixed assets, in tax module, everywhere we have.
Okay.
Okay. So, did we discuss anything else other than posting profiles that day?
No.
Okay, I think we have discussed some vendor details.
Vendor details.
Within the vendor menu, what all the options we have discussed, I think. We'll again go back to that menu. Don't worry, we have to create some transactions and go back there to inquire those transactions. Okay, so let me check into the course memo once again. I think we are done with configurations almost all. We have to work with the process activities from today mostly. Sorry, this one. Accounts payable we have created until vendor posting profiles. Okay, this charge codes topic I said we'll discuss during purchase order creation or after purchase order creation. We'll see. Okay. On vendor reasons, it's a very small topic. You can create reason code just like in any other module here in vendor. Here also. Let me go for MRF. This is our legal entity, right? So we have, just like in other modules, we have vendor reasons, just the reason codes for accounts payable module. We can create vendor reasons here, and you can create reasons and give them for various any reason. You can enable it for vendor so that you can use it in the accounts payable module. So there are certain transactions which are linked with cash and bank management to accounts payable, or vendor transactions which are linked to other modules. If you are doing something with those transactions in the other modules or trying to reverse or something, you should have this vendor also being enabled for such reason codes, because that reason code should be enabled both in this module as well as the other module, since it's a collaborative task which is related to both the modules. Okay, keep that point in mind. So we have few reason codes we have already created, which in general ledger module we have enabled vendor for them. We will use this two only, or else we can also use this wrong amount check, which is related to one of the vendor transactions. So we pay wrong amount through check to vendors for cancellation purpose. Such things we can use this option. It's a very small topic. A known topic to you. We have already discussed this. Other than this, today we will discuss about one of the important topic. This one, invoice journals. Okay, I'll write down the topic name here. Invoice journals, also called as vendor invoice journals, also called as non-PO invoices. So these are the few prominent names in market. We will call them as vendor invoice journals usually, since we are doing it for vendors and those are invoice journals. We'll call it as vendor invoice journals, but in Dynamics the menu name is invoice journals. Okay, so why do we use this invoice journals? Any idea, anyone? Or what it is meant by an invoice journal? So these journals are used. Yeah. Yes, Saidip, please.
Whenever we are doing sales or purchases, that time you are raising invoice. Automatically it will post journal.
Correct. You will create invoices whenever you are doing purchase and sales. So that's purchase and sales always include goods, right? Sometimes if it is a service sector company, they can also create services as goods and they can buy them, but without managing inventory, buy and sell those services. But here, for certain miscellaneous services that we incur from vendors or that we get it done from the vendors, we can create these invoice journals. Suppose that I have received some service from one vendor. I have one vendor, suppose vendor one. From this vendor, I have received some service, like somebody from their place came to me and gave some training to my users here for some machinery. Assume that I have to pay some training charges to them, to the vendor. So the training charges were like 1000. So I am liable to pay 1000 service charges or training charges to the vendor, this vendor. So for this kind of transaction, there is no product involved, right? We just incurred a expense which we have to pay to the vendor. So for these kind of invoices, which does not include products or purchase orders, so we call this as non-PO invoice for a reason. We will create invoice journals. Normal, or we can also call them as expense journals, not expense journals, vendor expense journals we usually call. I mean, there are multiple names, but these are the three prominent names in industry. So we will create some invoice journal for creating an invoice for the vendor. So what is an invoice normally? What does invoice do? When we post an invoice, what does it do? Anybody have any idea? What does an invoice do when we post it here in the system? For as suppose a vendor invoice example, what does it do?
That
It creates
that was the
liability.
bill amount mentioned in the
Invoice, yes,
bill amount. How much
yes.
amount
So how much amount mentioned in the bill? Okay, what it does?
they are providing services to us, right?
Correct. See, we are receiving some training from the vendors. From the vendor side, someone will come, trainer will come. We'll take some training for which we have to give some training fees, training expenses, what we call. So we have to pay 1000 training expenses. This is an expense, right? So expenses are always debited. We know that logic. We have recorded expense as a debit. And since we are liable to pay the vendor 1000 amount, so vendor account will be credited. Means liability will be increased. Behind vendor we have accounts payable account, right? Accounts payable account is a liability, which means vendor is also a liability. So vendor account will be credited with 1000 means we have to liable to pay vendor 1000 rupees. So a liability will be recorded in our books such that we have to pay it later to the vendor. So when to pay and how to pay, we can agree with the vendor. Like we have to pay in net 30 days, net 20 days. That's one rule we have. Or you can get cash discount if you pay in 10 days. That also we have. We have seen it. We'll also try to apply it to the invoice now. Then to by which method of payment you have to pay, by check payment or by electronic payment or through cash. You can also specify that while creating invoice. So that is an agreement that normal terms and conditions we can apply to the invoice. But coming to the accounting terms of the invoice, this is the entry we usually get when we post a normal invoice. Training expenses will get debited and vendor account will get credited, which means we are liable to pay the vendor 1000. Invoice will be recorded in this way and vendor balance will show as minus 1000, which means we have to pay 1000 to the vendor, or liability of 1000. Vendor balance will show up like that. Clear this entry for everyone, or do you want me to explain once again?
ఇంకొకసారి.
Sure. So whenever we are receiving any service from a vendor, one which is not including any product, we normally don't have any inventory transactions involved to it. So that is why we will record a small transaction like this. If it is training expense, training we have received from vendor, we'll create training expense debit and vendor account credit. So if it is rent expense that we have to pay to any vendor who have leased a building to us, we will every month we will pay rent, right? So every month vendor will send an invoice to us saying that your rent for this month is due. Pay it in net 5 days. He will send the invoice on 1st of every month or 31st of every month, or 30th of every month according to the last day of the month. So we will record the invoice in our system like this. Once we receive the invoice, we will debit the rent expense and credit the vendor such that it will create a liability in our system to pay the vendor within so and so days, within 5 days. So what happens within 5 days, we will make a payment. So what is the payment entry for paying a vendor?
Vendor to cash.
Vendor account will be debited and the bank account will be credited.
So when we are paying the vendor, vendor account will be debited since vendor is a receiver. Vendor will be debited with 1000 and bank account. If we are paying it through bank account will be credited, means we will lose money from our bank account. this is the payment entry. Then what happens? This vendor credit balance of 1000 and vendor debit balance of 1000 will get knocked off and the vendor balance will become finally 0. So when we created invoice, there is a liability created. When we are paying the vendor, liability will get deducted since we are paying it. So the vendor balance will finally become 0 and this will be the final remaining entry. Rent expenses debit and bank account credit will remain as final entry or just remain as two different balances in trial balance. So we know that rule, right? For every debit we need to have a credit. So since these two get knocked off, so this will be the remaining credit for this debit of rent expenses. So we use this mechanism of recording invoices and maintaining the due dates because we also have to maintain the proper cash flows in our business. We have to understand when invoice is getting due and when we have to pay it and how we have to pull the money for payment and how much customer payments we are receiving by that time. So is this money sufficient for paying or for
There
knocking
is
off the vendor
disturbance in your
transactions?
voice.
Is it so for everyone? Hello?
Yes, JP.
Okay. Is it clear enough?
Now
Is
it's
this okay?
Clear.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect then. So this mechanism of recording invoices and payments is prominent in business. So you have to record a liability which
Again,
would.
the same issue.
Okay. Sorry
No,
for
there was
that
no
time.
disturbance for me.
లేదు క్లియర్గానే ఉంది.
మాకు
Okay.
క్లియర్గానే
Sushila, just check some connection issues if you have any.
Yeah,
Else
okay.
we can continue. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I was saying that maintaining this mechanism is important. Recording the invoice, creating a liability, then making a payment and knocking off the liability is important. Without involving the vendor, you can also directly make a transaction like rent expense 1000 and bank account credit 1000. You can directly record it in a general ledger transaction also, paying rent expense 1000 and bank account credit 1000. But to which vendor you are paying? Is there any taxes involved in it? So if taxes are involved, how much taxes you are paying to the vendor? Recording all this is important. And in case if you are paying it directly, then to whom you are paying, you can't understand at the end. You know that rent you are paying, but to which party you are paying the rent, you have to add it in the description, but there is no proper record or mechanism. You can't extract a detailed report of how much rent you have paid to a specific vendor and how much liability you have created to him previously and how much you have settled with him. You can't understand. Okay, as I was saying, you can also do this transaction in general, let's say in the bank, but this mechanism will usually help you to understand how much you have to pay every month or how much you are liable to pay within a specified date, and to maintain the cash flows in the business. It will help. That's all. So any confusion in these entries? If you are clear, we can go with the process now. There is a minor configurations we have to do. We have to create a journal name. That's all. If once created, we can proceed. All clear, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. If yes, then we will see how we can create invoices, how we can give an invoice number, date, terms of payments, how it works. We'll see all of that now today. So focus on this. This class is important actually. Just duplicate this tab. For creating invoice journal, actually, we have one step. We have to create a journal name. We can create multiple journal names for the sake of invoice. I'm sorry, in accounts payable and searching for journal names. Journal setup, journal names. So we have quite few journal names that we have already created. I think here we can create one more journal name. I'll just give you a name, new journal here. So vendor invoice journal. Okay. Vendor invoice journal is what we name it. The journal type is important. Vendor invoice recording is what we have. Journal type here. Vendor invoice recording. This one. Keep it in mind. Okay, other than this, we have voucher series. We can give voucher series. View details. You can create a new vendor invoice. Company, sorry, not legal entity, company specific. MRF. Remove this. Give the same vendor invoice. 6 numerics. Keep it continuous, save it, go back and assign that voucher series still here. Okay. Clear creation of journal, all of you? Any confusion in this? So all that we have to do is giving the journal type as vendor invoice recording and creating a unique voucher series for this process. Okay, clear, right? Someone acknowledge please. If it is clear, we can move to the next step.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. So now we can proceed and create a invoice, and let's see how we can do it. So since this journal is created, now to create an invoice journal, I am going to accounts payable. It's in here under invoices, invoice journal. Here you can see the star mark enabled because I added it as my favorite. So if I add it as a favorite, I can see that favorites here without navigating also. But don't add them as favorites because you have to learn the navigations properly. So accounts payable, invoices and invoice journal. It is here. Click on invoice journal. It would normally look like a journal only. Any journals look like normal journal only. Just that certain specifications change and there will be additional fields available for specific journals. So this is vendor invoice journal, right? You will see invoice field, invoice date field, and you will see vendor appearing automatically in the main account rather than ledger. Okay. Just click on new here. Here, click on new. Select the name of the journal. So we have created one journal, right? If I give the journal type of vendor invoice recording, then only I can see that journal here. You can also create multiple journals, like for foreign vendors, you can create foreign invoice, vendor invoice journal and give the journal type as same, but it will be an entirely different journal with a different voucher series. Okay, you can create in that way. But here I am using only single journal. I am selecting that journal only, vendor invoice journal. Okay, I can change the description if I want to. I don't want to change the description. Rest all same. I mean, these details here are almost similar to the general ledger menu. And I'll go to lines here. So here today's date, okay. I got the voucher number, vendor invoice 00000001. Then account type vendor here. You can change it to anything. If you want to, you can change it back to ledger, no problem. But since we have to do the invoice to the vendor only, I am selecting the vendor account here. So I'm selecting vendor here. I'm selecting the vendor account here. We have list of vendors we have created, right? So we'll select one vendor. Let us go with this vendor, Sahara. Okay, vendor number. Vendor name will appear here automatically. It takes a while to refresh when we select it here. See here, I got the vendor name, Sahara. And as soon as I select the vendor, I can see the terms of payment appearing here, cash discount appearing here. Any idea why I am seeing this terms of payment and cash discount automatically? Anyway,
We have given while creating the vendor account, we have given the details in the payment section.
Correct. When we have created the vendor account, we have given the default terms of payment for the vendor as net 30 days. And we also gave the default cash discount as 10% 10 days. That is why system automatically picks them here. We'll come back to this topic to discuss once again. I mean, how this is applied or how it will change and how the due date will change according to the terms of payment. We'll see. Okay, that's our agenda of discussion today. So I am giving here the invoice date. So you are posting it for this date, but it's not necessary that your invoice date is of the same date. You can have invoice date for 1st of October. So vendor send the invoice on 1st of October only, dating it for 1st of October, but you are posting it for today. So your posting date will be 10th of, I'm sorry, 4th of no, 4th of October, but invoice date will be 1st of October. Okay, I'm giving the invoice date as 1st of October. So key point to remember is your terms of payment will be calculated from this invoice date, whatever you give here. If you don't give any invoice date, system will automatically take the posting date as invoice date. It will consider the posting date as invoice date automatically. Okay, so you have to give a specific date. If you both are same also, then you can give same date. No problem. If you don't give any date, means system will consider the posting date as invoice date, and terms of payment and cash discount will be calculated from this date. If you don't select any date, if you select one date, then terms of payment and cash discount will be accounted from or calculated from this particular date or this taking this date into view. Clear? All of you have
Yeah.
repeated this twice or thrice because it is important to understand. Okay. Most important one is you have to give an invoice number for this invoice. Okay, give an invoice number like invoice 01 anything. Like if normally what invoice numbers we give here is vendor will send you an invoice, right? Expense invoice or any rent invoice. So on that invoice number, vendor will have his invoice number. He will have one unique number. He will directly enter the number here. Okay, whatever the invoice number you on this invoice template, you will give so that it would be easy for you to match with those invoice details, or if at all you want to cross check with the vendors once again with regarding the invoices created on their names, you can easily identify it with the that particular invoice number. That is the unique ID you have for matching the both the invoices. So amount can be same sometimes for the invoices. Invoice will always different, right? You can't create invoices on same number set again and again. You can rely on the invoice number. You have to give the invoice number as the unique ID that is given by the vendor for vendor invoices, and for purchase order invoice also you will give the same invoice number that is given by the vendor. Key point, remember that too. Okay, here I mentioned that I this invoice number. Okay. So add some description for this line if at all. Like I can give rent invoice. So for September, not September, just say October month. Okay, anything. Rent invoice for October. Give this description. Then what we have to do here with the vendor account, do we need to debit or credit?
Vendor credit.
So I already told you invoice entry, vendor will be always credited. So may you select any expense account, either rent expense, training expense, or any other expense, relevant expense. But vendor account will be always credited. So we have to credit the vendor here. So I'm crediting $1,000. Okay. Then it is a US dollar currency only. I'm doing this transaction or invoice in local currency only. We'll do foreign invoice with foreign vendor. We have one foreign vendor, right? We'll do that in the next step. Okay, then I have offset account. So you have to select the offset account here in the offset account type. So offset account type is letter. You can select the
There
offset
is a
account.
break
Offset
in your
account. What will be
voice.
the offset account? Did I? Vamsi, is it breaking my voice as well?
Yes, JP, for me, I'm
Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Seems Seems how about now? Hello? Hello guys, how about now? You able to hear me properly?
Yeah, fine now, Jay.
Yeah.
Still at
Sairam,
బ్రేక్ వస్తుంది చెప్పి
is ఇంకా break
ఇప్పుడు కూడా వస్తుంది
వస్తుందా?
ఇప్పుడు కూడా
ఇప్పుడు బ్రేక్ అవుతుంది.
Okay.
ఇప్పుడు బ్రేక్ అవుతుంది చెప్పు.
So bad. I'm not sure with this connection. Give me a second. Let me connect it with my mobile data only. I don't have my mobile charger in place. Bad signs. Is it better enough? Somewhat, or
Yes.
is it the same?
Yeah,
It
okay,
is
fine.
Better enough? Okay, wonderful. So I was saying you can change this currency if you want to create it as a foreign currency invoice. You can select any other currency. So system will automatically pick the exchange rate for that currency to the US dollar, because US dollar is our accounting currency, right? And it also need to have a exchange rate between euro currency also, because that is our reporting currency. So whenever you select any foreign currency here, make sure that you have exchange rate between accounting currency and reporting currency to the transaction currency. The currency that we select is normally called as transaction currency. The one we select in transaction is called as transaction currency. Okay. So coming to the next step, you have to select a offset account. So offset account type I'm selecting as ledger only. Here also you can select anything. You can select offset account. So since we are doing a rent invoice, right? Which means I'll select the rent expense account here in the offset account. So this expense account will get debited. So this expense account will get debited here. You can see, but this account will get credited. Vendor account will get credited. Since in the account whatever we select, that will get credited, or the amount that we give here will be added to that account. So vendor will be credited and this offset account will be debited eventually. So if you have any sales tax and item sales tax groups, you can add it here. So the tax will be calculated. But this part we will see again. I mean, once we create tax module, once after this module, we'll discuss tax module, and then we can apply taxes and see how it works. Okay, this is how normally we create an invoice. So you can see the entry. Vendor is credited and ledger is debited. Is it clear until here for everyone?
Yeah.
yes.
Creation of this
Yes.
line.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect then. So if you are clear, then let us come back to this part. Okay, this part. First, let us discuss about this terms of payment. You can see here, right? So the invoice date is 1st of October. So you can see the terms of payment given here is net 30 days. Then you can see the due date here, right? 31st October 2021. It is leaving 30 days or adding 30 days to one, and you have 31st day as the due date. So what happens if I select it as another day? Like if I select net 15 days, 1 plus 15, 16 will be the due date here. Suppose if I select any other like current month plus 10 days. Suppose if I select current month plus 10 days, what will be date, guys?
It will leave the current month and calculate extra 10 days. That is
Correct.
November
Correct.
10th.
So you can see here. So it will leave the current month and it will take 10 days. So 10th of November is the due date. See 10/11. Don't go with this way. 10th of November. This one. You can see the drop down here. 10th of November will be the due date for this invoice. If I select current month plus 10 days. Okay. Suppose if I select anything else, current quarter plus 10 days. So if I select current quarter plus 10 days, it is going for next year, 10th of January 2022. Because October, November and December is the current quarter, right? So it is leaving the entire current quarter and going for the next 10 days in the next quarter. So January 10th will be the due date. You're getting the logic right, everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. So what if I select cash on delivery? What happens if I select cash on delivery? Any idea?
Same day.
Correct. The same day is taken here as a due date. The day we create invoice, the day we have to pay. Once we receive invoice, we also have to make the payment. So that is why we have COD, cash on delivery of the invoice. Then we have one more. I'll try to open it here actually, the terms of payment to explain you clearly. So I'm in accounts payable, terms of payments. So what else we have? Current week plus 2 days is something we have. Let's see that one. Current week plus 2 days. So this first of September, October is falling into this week, right? You can see first of October is falling into previous week. We said current week plus 2 days, right? Current week plus 2 days means Monday. So here you can see 4th of October is the due date. Suppose if I select this date to 5th of October, invoice date. So if I select this to next week, 5th of October, current week plus 2 days means next Monday will be the due date, 11th of October. You can see here 11th of October is the due date. This one. It leaves the entire week, current week, and add 2 days for due date. You can see clearly. Good with the logic, or did somebody have any confusion in this until here?
No.
No confusion. Okay, good. So let's go for another terms of payment. Net 15, net 13, current month plus current quarter plus all are good. Cash on delivery is good. Then we have net 30. It is also good. Net 5 days is also good. We have cutoff day 10. So let's see this one. Cutoff day 10. So we gave 15th day as the payment day and cutoff day as 10th. So let's see how this works. This is interesting. So 1st of October is my invoice date. I am giving cutoff date 10. So what is my due date? 15th, because my invoice date is before the cutoff day, right? So before I gave cutoff day as 10 days. So before the cutoff 10th of October only, before the cutoff day only, I have my invoice date. So that is why it is taking this month 15 as the due date. Suppose if I give it for 11th, I gave 11th as the invoice date. Then what happened?
Next month 15th.
It takes the next month's 15th as the due date. So that 10 days or 10th day will act as a cutoff day. If the invoice is done before, I think on or before, let me see with the 10th also. Yeah, on or before 10th. So it will take that month 15th as the due date. If I select any date other than 10th or later 10th, it will take next month as the due date. Next month 15 as the due date. Clear? So we have discussed this part during creation also. I mean, during that logic, I explained the logic during creation of the terms of payment too. So the application is clear, right, for all of you? Saideep,
Yeah.
Yes,
Santosh. Okay. Vamsi. So we have Shivakumar.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Perfect. Then that would be all I have. We have one specific method, but this is not logical. I mean, this will be applicable for 5 months specific. We can't see anything here. So if I give that here, 5 months specific, it generally gives 11th as the, I mean, same date as due date, but it's not same date actually. If I give, takes the same date, but not the same date. We have a payment schedule right within this specific method. So it will apply this payment schedule 5 months specific, and according to these percentages, it will divide it on the for 1 month it will break it into 30%, another month 25%, and so due date will be broken into 5 parts. So every month we are able to pay this much percentage amount on the 1000, 300, 250, 200, 150, and 100. In this manner we have to pay every month for next 5 months. So we'll see that part, how to apply that, and next time we'll apply that one in the other invoice, and we'll see how it will be broken. Or I'm just giving as net 5 days for this for now. Net 5 days means 6th of October will be the due date. Okay, so clear, right? The terms of payment application for all of you. It is the same for every invoice on the customer side also. Also for the purchase order or sales order invoices, for anything, terms of payment will be the same. If you give it an invoice according to the invoice date, this date will be considered. The terms of payment will be applied according to the invoice date. Okay, if it is clear, I'll move to this topic, sales tax. Actually, we don't have any calculated sales tax here. It shows up 0 because we don't have any sales tax codes applied here. So again, I'll discuss this part during once after configuring tax module. Okay. Other than this, we have this one, cash discount, 10% 10 days. So it is being defaulted from vendor account. We have when we created vendor account, we have given this. So 10% 10 days. Okay, 10% right discount. So here system automatically calculates 100 as the discount. 10 days you gave right time. So system automatically takes 10 days as the cash discount date. So 11th of it takes 10 days, 1 plus 10. 11th of October will be the last day for availing cash discount of 10%. Okay, but we gave due date as 6th, right? So this discount is not logical. Let me change it back to net 30. Then this will be logical enough. 30 days is the due date for the invoice payment. If you pay in 10 days, you will get $100 discount. Suppose if I change the discount code like only 5%, if I pay in 20 days, I'll get only $50 discount, but I have to pay it in 20 days. 20 days means see the discount date. 21st of October is the last date for discount. If I don't pay within this date, I have to pay total $1,000 on the invoice. If I pay on this date, I'll get $50 discount and I can pay the vendor only $950. Clear this one as well for all of you. Any confusion in this? And I can also select this 1%, 3% 30 days. So if I select 3% 30 days means I can see takes 30 days. For 31st of October only, if I pay it means I'll get $30 discount, 3% on total invoice amount. This amount 1000, 3% on that amount. Clear guys? Saideep, Naveen, Sairam.
SJP.
Okay. So we also have another one terms of payment which we missed actually. Net 2 months. If I give net 2 months, you see automatically it takes to the 1st of next 2 months. So 1st of October, right? So it takes to 1st of December. If I give net 2 months means, if I give net 1 month means 1st of November will be the due date. Net 3 months means January 1st will be the due date. Like that. Okay, this one is okay. It's simple. So clear with cash discount, all of you. Any confusion? Anyone?
No.
If you have any doubts, ask now itself. I mean, we also see the cash discount applicability during payment. We'll do that too. So, but before that, I want you to understand this. All good, right? So if it is all good, we can validate this. Validate. It is validated. Journal is okay. Now I will post it. It's not a point that you have to create only single invoice line here. You can create multiple lines by clicking on you. You can create one more invoice. You can give one more invoice date. So these things are all specific to each invoice line. So we'll create that multiple invoice in the next example. So if this is clear for you until here, we have posted, right? We can check the voucher here. click on this, you can see the voucher. So I'll just minimize this. What will be the voucher now? Any idea what will be the voucher? Anyone should say it correct. If you have 100% confident that it is correct, then please let me know. What is the voucher?
Rent account will be debited and the accounts payable account will be credited.
So Sheila says that rent expense account will be debited and accounts payable account will be credited. So anybody have any other answer?
No.
No. So Saideep.
Yes. Same.
Same opinion. Okay. If somebody have different opinion, let me know. Okay. Seems like same opinion. So then we can see the voucher here. See, rent expense account is debited with 1000. Accounts payable account is credited with 1000. So behind vendor we have accounts payable account. So now my question is to somebody here. uh, Bala. Bala, you there? Okay. Then how system is taking this accounts payable account instead for vendor account? How this accounts payable account is being picked? Need answer from you.
Not sure.
Okay, no worries. Anybody else? Let me go for Santosh.
Yes, bro.
How system is considering this accounts payable account when we post the voucher?
Yeah, actually, అంటే అనుకుంటున్నాను నేను లైక్ వెండర్ అకౌంట్ we are paying, right?
So
Not
we are crediting the vendor. That is correct. But how system knows that accounts payable account only has to be picked? There should be some link, right?
yes.
So where did we give that link, or what is that link? Okay, no
Yeah.
worries. No worries. Somebody will answer it. Okay, then we'll go for Shivakumar.
Sure.
So why system is taking this accounts payable account here automatically?
First we assign no sir.
Where we
Previous
assign?
in account payable in that way.
So it's account payable. So where we have given this account for vendor?
In, in a voucher.
Okay, not in voucher. It's okay. Let's ask someone else. So who else is in call? So Sidhu is here. Sridhar. No. Okay. So Saideep.
JP,
Yeah.
when we are creating vendor account by default we are given accounts payable.
No, we did not give any account as accounts payable when we created vendor. Not at
Can I?
But
all.
we are given by default, but
No.
where it is I didn't get.
No.
No. Wait, Susila.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me ask. Okay. So we have linked this accounts payable account to vendors, but not in vendor master. Okay, in vendor master we did not give any default accounts. Okay, then so who else we have in class? I'll ask Vamsi.
Posting profile ledger.
So Vamsi said that we have linked the vendor account in posting profile. Is it correct?
Yeah, we have
Yes.
given the summary account as
Vendor
accounts
posting
payable. Are creating
In
posting
posting
profile.
profile. So we have in the previous class we have created this posting profile, concept of posting profile, the question which I asked earlier today in class, where we linked the vendors to accounts payable account. This is the accounts payable account we have given. So here we have linked all vendors to accounts payable account. So whenever we debit the any vendor, it will be debited. Whenever we credit any vendor, accounts payable account will get credited in this posting profile. From this posting profile, this account will be picked. So okay, it has to be created. This posting profile has to be created, and system has to definitely post this voucher. Without having posting profile in place and posting this voucher, you cannot create any invoice transaction, neither any vendor transaction. Okay, this is the link between accounts payable and general ledger. This account is from general ledger, right? And the all accounts you gave here is all vendor accounts. These are accounts related to accounts payable. So we have linked it here in the posting profile. So it is taking from here from the posting profile. Clear guys for all of you? Bala, Shivakumar, Saideep,
Yes, sir.
Santosh.
Yes, Jamie.
Okay.
Yes.
Do not forget this again. Okay. This is very, very important. So now from there it took the accounts payable account instead for vendor account. Since we have credited the vendor, it automatically credits the accounts payable account. So when we go and see the vendor balance in accounts payable module, we can see accounts vendor balance will be -1000 because we have created invoice. Again in the accounts payable account also you can see the balance. So both of them will parallelly get credited. But the vendor balance that is affecting here in the vendor is not affected to the original accounts. Only the original accounts will be affected through this voucher that is being posted. Okay, in general ledger, the original accounts and the trial balance balances will be affected only through this voucher that is being posted. Remember that point. So that is why we are giving accounts payable account behind, so that it will create a liability, total liability for all the vendor transactions when we post any invoices. So when we make payments, again accounts payable balance will get decreased. It will be debited, right? So, but in the vendor module or in the accounts payable module, the mechanism will be different. It will maintain different records like invoice record, payment record separately. Whereas coming to general ledger, all the amount will be pulled up to accounts payable account. You can create multiple accounts also depending on each group in posting profile. We have seen that concept too. So that system will pick specific account. So if the vendor is into domestic, if we give accounts payable domestic to that, it will pick that account rather than the single accounts payable account. So we have given a single account, so it picked the same account for any vendor that we do transactions to. Clear guys?
Yes.
Okay. Santosh.
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. Then
Sure.
Shivakumar, yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Then I'll click on this vendor. You see this vendor. I'll go for transactions. So on vendor, you can see invoices, balance and transactions. First, let us go for balance. Okay. I can see vendor balance is -1000, which explains like I have a liability of $1,000 to be paid to the vendor. You can see US dollar, right? $1,000 of amount I have to pay to the vendor. This is the balance menu. So you can also see the open transactions for this 1000. We only have one transaction, right? One open transaction. So we can see that single invoice. And when we click on that open transactions, you see that single invoice. Journal 001 posted on 4th of October. Invoice number 1,000 amount and balance to be paid is 1000. I'll explain this concept. I mean, going back again, we can see that from here. Then I can go back. So we have checked the balance, right? I can check the invoices. If I check the invoices, I'll see the list of invoices. I only have one invoice posted, right? So I can see that invoice here in this menu, invoices menu. Takes a while to load. Let it load. So here you can see this invoice posted on this date. Invoice number. Purchase order is empty because this is not a purchase order invoice, right? This is a normal vendor invoice journal. So you don't see any purchase order linked. For purchase order invoices, you see the purchase order number also. Then voucher number you have, invoice amount you have 1000, and due date of the invoice you have here 31st October 2021. If you want to see the voucher from here, you can again click here and it will take you to the same voucher. Same voucher, accounts payable, credited, rent account debited. Okay, go back. Other than balance and invoice, we have this option transactions. Here in this transactions, it will normally show the list of transactions, may it be invoices or payments or any other transactions related to the vendor. If you have linked this vendor account, it will show up here in the transactions. So you can see there is one transaction for this vendor. Voucher number of the transaction, date, and you can clearly identify this is invoice transaction because you can see this invoice here, invoice number, and you can see the description what you have given and the amount as 1000. And you can see the balance in transaction currency, which is US dollar. So how much you have to pay to the vendor? 1000. On this invoice, there is a balance of 1000 debt that has to be paid. So that is why it is showing minus number of balance. On this invoice, remember that we have to pay another $1000 or total $1000 to the vendor. So it is showing here the balance in accounting amount in accounting currency. This is amount in transaction currency. Our transaction currency is US dollar only. So it is showing US dollar amounts. Our accounting currency is also US dollar. So it is showing US dollar amounts only again 1000 and 1000. We can also add the reporting currency balances columns here. You just right click here, click on personalize and add fields, and you will get that reporting currency balances also in euro. Okay. So this is the most important part you have to understand in the vendor transactions menu. We will come back to this menu multiple times, but see, remember this one. When invoice is created, you can see the amount in positive amount here and the balance in transaction currency in negative amount, which means we have to pay the balance here. If I make the same payment transaction, I can see the payment transaction here as 1000. So now I will make a payment transaction, same. If you are clear with this until here, we'll make a payment transaction and I'll bring it here. Or we can make a payment transaction later also. Anything you can do. So for this, actually, this is one vendor, right? There is another vendor actually. I'll go back to this Maruti Suzuki, for which we have made some payments earlier. We did not do any invoices, but we only did payments. So all of them are payments only. So for this, you can see balance is all positive. Why it is all positive? Any idea?
All those are prepayments.
So all those are payments only, which are prepayments. So this shows positive balance because we have made positive amount payment to vendor, but vendor is now liable to repay us. If in case he is not providing that invoice or service or any goods, he have to pay us, right? So it will show us a positive balance here in the balance. If it is an invoice, it will show negative balance saying that we have to pay. And here you can see there are two transactions that are settled, this 900 and 900. For these two transactions, I can see zero balance. Any idea why it is showing zero balance?
Cancel payment.
Actually, this is settled with this one. This is a cancelled payment transaction. This is the original payment transaction. These both are settled. When they are settled, there won't be any balance remaining. They are settled, right? So for the same invoice that we have seen earlier, $1000 invoice. If I make a payment transaction and settle both of them, then the balance will become zero for both of them. Here also you can see 1400 this side and 1400 this side. This is a cancelled payment, means vendor is giving us back. This is a made payment, we paid it. So this 14 is on this side and this 14 cancelled is on the other side. Same way, invoice transactions will be here and payment transactions will be here normally. Means what all we are debiting the vendor will be showing this side, where are we are crediting the vendors will be shown this side. So since these two are knocked off or settled, we'll get the balance as zero. I'll show that part how to settle the payment versus invoices. So if you are clear in understanding until here, we can again discuss this menu, no problem. So clear, right? How to post an invoice and how to come back and track that invoice here in the vendor transactions for all of you. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you can also check the voucher for this invoice from here. Click here and you can check the voucher posted. Same voucher will show up. Also, you can select the transaction and click on this voucher. There also it will show the same voucher posted. Okay. Key points, remember them. Sometimes if you don't understand where you have posted this invoice and you want to see the journal where you have posted the invoice, you can track it. You can just click here, click on original document here. Once you click on original document, it will automatically open the journal and invoice. So this is the invoice number 1, right? You can click on view details. It will automatically take you to the invoice journal. If not, you can click on this journal and click on view details. It will automatically take you to the journal where you have posted it. This is the journal we have posted. This is the same journal, vendor invoice journal number 61. If I go to lines, I can see the same invoice where I posted vendor invoice 001. Same vendor selected, 1000 rupees credit and ledger account. This is one way to track the original journal where we have posted that invoice. Okay, original document is the option we have. I'll go back and I'll again show you. Select the transaction, click on original document. May it be any transaction or any voucher. If you click on original document, it will take you to the place where it was posted. Okay, remember that point. So we'll create more invoices here. I'll go back. I'll create a new invoice. Select same vendor invoice journal. I'll go for lines. So what next? Can someone guide me, Sairam? How to create this invoice?
Select the vendor.
Okay, select the vendor account. I'll select Sahara only once again. Okay.
And invoice date.
Okay, invoice date. I'll give the invoice date as 2nd of October. Okay.
Now,
Next,
now we have to create.
we have to give the invoice number. Go column by column. Okay. So I'll give this as invoice number 02. Invoice number is important. It's a compulsory field. Without filling invoice number, you can't post the invoice. Remember that too.
Okay.
Okay. Without giving this date, you can post because system will consider this date as invoice date automatically. Debit or credit? What do we do
Credit.
for the vendor? Debit or credit?
Credit.
Since it is an invoice transaction, vendor will always be credited. So I am crediting with $1,500 for this vendor this time. Ledger, you can select any expense account. Mostly you will get expense accounts only because we always incur expenses or receive some services which we require, right? That is why we will mostly get offset account as expense account only. Let me find one expense account. Like I'll select some expense like other expenses. Okay. And I can see this net 30 days as terms of payment, which is defaulting from the vendor master. So here we have given, I am just clicking on view details so that it will take me to the vendor account. I just want to show you where by default it is taking from. In the vendor account under payment menu, we have this terms of payment given as net 30 days, method of payment given as check, and cash discount given as 10% 10 days automatically. So since from here it is taking, when we give it here in the vendor master feed, master data, it will automatically default it down to the invoices that we create. As I told you, you can also any other terms of payment or change it back to any other discount code, your wish. Okay, since you have selected 10%, it is calculating 150. So my question now is to someone, Santosh, why it is calculating 150 here?
Because for 10 days it is 10%.
So 10 days it is 10%. Okay, from where it is calculating this 10% on how 150 is calculated here? What is the base amount for depreciation calculation?
What is the amount we have taken as credit on that amount?
Correct. What is the invoice amount we have? So that invoice amount is the base for calculation of discount, and this is the only base for calculation of taxes also. Okay, remember that point too. Thank you, Santosh. Then we can validate this journal and post it. Before that, I'll try to create one more journal. Okay, this is one invoice, right? I will also create another invoice for the same vendor or for another vendor I'll create.
Here
Okay,
I have one doubt.
yes, Sushila, please.
Here we have given the cash discount 10%, right? So
Correct.
if the payment haven't done till, I mean, after the 10 days also, if we apply next discount code, While
Yeah,
creating this
if we have
10%.
next discount code, it automatically takes next discount. So you want to see that, you have this option cash discount here. Usually it should show here once we apply cash discount, but I don't know why it's not showing. But during payment, it will show you. If you pay on which date, how much discount will appear, it will show normally. I think for this 10% 10 days, do we have a next discount code? No, we don't have one. I think that's the thing. Let me select another one like 5% 20 days. At least for this, do we have any next discount code? Let me check. Yeah, we have one next discount code for this. So I've applied this, right? I'll save this and go to cash discounts. Here also it's not calculating, but generally in the payment, while you're doing payment, it will automatically consider it. I'll show you there. So let me apply this discount code 5% 20 days here. So since this is having next discount code during settlement, I'll show you how this works. Okay, for now, I am creating one more invoice here. So Sheila, clear, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah, clear.
Okay. So you can create one more invoice line here. So this is the entire different invoice now. So this takes a different voucher number. Select another vendor account. You can select another vendor if you want. Like vendor one, I'll select Maruti Suzuki, for whom we have done lot of payments. For October 1st, I'll select invoice date. I'll select any invoice like MS Maruti Suzuki INV 01. My wish. I mean, whatever the vendor will give, then that number I'll enter. Right. So I give this number. So again, this vendor will be credited. Same kind of. So $2,000 I am crediting for the vendor, right? Then I am giving the offset account. I'll give the offset account as some expense account. I'll go for 5 series, select some miscellaneous expenses. Okay, assume that some miscellaneous expenses I'm selecting. Now for this vendor, I don't see any terms of payment and cash discount. Why? Any idea why?
We are not mentioned in the vendor
Yeah.
account creation in the payments.
Correct. For vendor account that we have created, we did not mention any default terms of payments or default cash discount codes. So it's not defaulting anything here. We can give manually if you want to give anything. Like you can give like net 15 days. So the due date will be calculated. If you have a cash discount, you can give cash discount. If you feel like cash discount is not applicable for this, leave that. No cash discount applicability. And I can post this. Now if I post this, two invoices will be posted. One invoice for vendor 2 and one invoice for vendor 1. In the same manner, you can create as many invoices as you want within a single journal. This is a journal, right? Single journal. This is the journal batch number. Within a single journal batch, you can create as many lines as you want, and you can create as many invoices as you want. I can also create a multi-line invoice. I'll show you how to create a multi-line invoice now. If this is clear for you, I'll show you another invoice.
Yeah, actually, if you don't want to take terms of payment, and if you want the due date will be as per the payment day, how it will be?
Payment day.
Yeah.
Okay, actually that payment day will not be applicable here. I think, let me check if we have a payment day here in the invoice column. Mostly the payment day we have to give in the, okay, 1 second, let me check it back. I'll try to add this field here if I would get one. So personalize this overview, add a field. Search for the field. Payment. So contains payment. Okay, apply. Payment day. We don't have payment day here. Correct. Okay. Let's do something else. Let me remove this here. For this vendor, I'll go to view details. I'll edit this and I'll give a payment day. So somewhere I have this payment day here, we have the payment day option. I'll give 15th day of month. Okay, so I'm giving it 15th day of month. Save this and go back. Refresh this. I think it will not be applicable if I refresh this because I might have to create it once again. So let me try to create it once again. Or no. Let me try to create one more invoice directly. So I'll create it for vendor 1. Maruti Suzuki. I'll select the due date as 1st of October. It's automatically selecting this only. Due date. Actually, that payment date option is somewhere else. I think the payment day option is applicable to the vendor, but mostly it has to be applied on the terms of payment. It's like cutoff day, but
Yeah, maybe we have to give there in the terms of payment.
somewhere we can see the payment day option. I mean, if we have it, actually we can give it back. So let me check it. Okay, if in that case, I'll check it and let you know where we can give it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm deleting this invoice now. It is clear, right, until here for all these invoices.
Yeah.
Okay. So net 15 days I gave. So I want to, if this is clear, I mean creating different invoices for within a single journal, I'll create one multi-line invoice for you. Okay, for that I'm just clicking on down arrow. Okay, you see different voucher number is taken here. Vendor invoice 004. I am selecting a single vendor here. Same vendor 1 Maruti Suzuki I'm selecting, and I'm selecting the invoice date as for today's date itself, and I'm giving another invoice number as MS invoice 02. Okay, for this particular invoice, I want to debit two different expense accounts, not a single expense account. I want to debit rent expense account as well as other expense account. Other expenses debited for 500, rent debited for 1100. Total credit for the vendor should be how much? 1500, right? So 1500 should be total credit for the vendor. So I have to create this kind of invoice. So any idea, anyone, how we can create this? Two accounts for single
So we
vendor.
take the as like complementary.
Correct. We have to create a compound entry. So this voucher number is 4 and this voucher is not balanced yet. You did not give any amounts right here and you don't have an offset account. If you give amount also like crediting for 1500, this voucher is not balanced yet because you don't have any offset account. If you have offset account, then only it will get balanced. Now if I click on you, what happens? Any idea what happens if I click on you?
With the another line with the same voucher number.
Correct. It will take the line with the same voucher number because this voucher is an incomplete voucher. It's not a balanced voucher. So if I click on you, it will take the same line. You can see voucher number, same voucher number it takes. And it will create a new line. Here, since we have to give expense accounts, right? Two expense accounts. I'll give here. I'll change it back to ledger, not vendor. And I'll give the one expense account here. So that expense account I'll give is rent expense. One expense will be rent. So rent expense has to be debited for 1000, right? So I'll give debit value of 1000 here. Come on, it's loading. Yeah, 1000 here. So upon this voucher, there is still some amount pending. How much pending amount is there on this voucher? You can see the imbalance. 500, right? Following guys, all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'll create one more line here. Same, I'll change it back to ledger, just like a compound entry. I'll select the other expense account here. Another expense account here. It's selected, and I can give the expense debit amount as 500. So now it is a balanced voucher, right? 1500 in credit and 1000 plus 500 in debit. Both of them are balanced. You don't have to give invoice number in other two lines. You can give in single line. That's all. MS invoice 02 you gave here, right? No need to fill invoice number and invoice date in these 2 lines also. If you give for one line, that is fair enough. And if you give it for vendor line, that's good. Clear enough? And I can save this. Now, how many invoices we have in this journal? In this journal batch?
3 invoices.
Correct. We have 3 invoices. These 2 are single invoices for 2 vendors. This is a kind of compound invoice which is including 2 expenses. Now I can validate this and post it. So for this invoice, I'll give net 15 days as the due date. Okay, this invoice number, and I'll post it. Sorry, we're crossing the times, but I want you to understand this topic actually. So we have 3 invoices: invoice number 2, invoice MS invoice 1, and MS invoice 2. So for this invoice, we have three accounts, right? So if I open the voucher, what will be the entry here for this invoice? Anyone?
Rent expense.
Same rent expense account debit, other expense account debit, 2 accounts payable.
Accounts payable account. Okay.
Accounts payable account will be credited. Okay, correct. So you can see rent expense account debited, other expense account debited, and accounts payable account is credited. So from where this accounts payable account is taken? Sadeep.
Vendor posting profile.
Correct. From vendor posting profile, system reads the account automatically. Since we are crediting the vendor, system will credit the accounts payable account. Very good. So this is the voucher transaction for this invoice. For this invoice, if you want to see, click the invoice and then click on voucher. For invoice number MS invoice 1, you can see miscellaneous expenses debited for 2000, accounts payable is credited for 2000. Okay, go back for the other invoice. This one, vendor invoice number 2. You can go for voucher. Here it is posted 1500, 1500, other expense debited, accounts payable credited. That's all. So clear, guys, until here, all of you? Any confusion in this part? All clear, Sairam?
Yes.
Okay. So you can also print these invoices through this process. Print the journal, print the balances, anything you can print from here, just like in general journal. We have certain same kind of menus, but except this invoice menu and cash discount menu, we'll discuss tomorrow. What is the use of this? Remaining all are same, rest all are almost same, nothing different. Cash discount means you can see this cash discount actually. No cash discount it is showing since we don't have any cash discount. But for this invoice Sahara, let us see if we have any cash discount. Yeah, we have. After posting actually it is showing. Before posting it is not showing. So Sheila asked this one, right?
Yeah.
What if we pay in 10 days? You will get 75, not in 10 days, 20 days I think. So 2nd of October is the invoice date. So 22nd is the date for discount. So if you pay in 20 days, you will get $75 discount. So the amount you have to pay is 1425, total 1500, right? So 75 deducted and 1425 you have to pay to the vendor. But you have next discount code. If you miss that, you have another discount code. I think 3%, 30 days, right? So 3% is 45. If you pay in 30 days, you will get $45 discount and you have to pay the vendor 1455. I think this one is after that, maybe later date. So you don't get any more discount. That's all. So now we can also check the vendor transactions. I can go back. So for vendor number 2, if I go to transactions, I can see there is one more invoice posted, right? This one, invoice number 2, just now we posted for 50. And I can see balance on this invoice is 1500. Go back, go for Maruti Suzuki, go for transactions. You have 2 invoice transactions in the bottom. Vendor invoice 003 journal you see here, and you see the invoice numbers as well. For payment transactions you don't have invoice numbers, but for invoice transactions you have invoice numbers. Invoice 1, invoice 2, and you have amount 2000 and 1500, and you see minus 2000 and minus 1500, which has to be paid to the vendor. Tomorrow we'll see settlements to this, how we can make a vendor payment and settle them, and how we can directly settle from the existing payment transactions already. We can see tomorrow. Okay, so practice it until here, how to work on this vendor invoices and all. It's the menus that I did not explain here because pretty much same compared to general ledger, just that you have settled transactions on this page. This we will discuss tomorrow anyway. And you have this invoice tab, and you have cash discounts. Only two fixed assets. Actually, it is same from general ledger. We'll discuss this topic in fixed asset module. Okay. Tomorrow we'll create one new invoice, and this I'll explain these two topics, and anything remain I'll explain you. Okay. That would be all, guys, for today. If you have any doubts, you can stay back and ask. If you don't have, you can drop off, and we'll meet in tomorrow's class. And thank you for your 10 more minutes. I'll stop it.